Hi everyone, this is Councilmember Shayla Adams Stafford and I represent District 5 on the Prince George's County Council, and I'm here today with Matthew from Food and Friends, and we have some really great meals planned for us today. So what I want you to know is that District 5 is a diverse community, and as the council person, I want to make sure that every family has the resources that they need to survive. That includes having access to healthy, nutritious meals regardless of your budget or zip code. I want to thank Food and Friends for the opportunity to talk to you all about some ways to make our budget stretch while feeding our families delicious meals. And trust me, I know what that's like because I have 3 kids myself. So I want you to make sure that you like and share this video with your friends and family.
And like she said, my name's Matthew. I'm one of the registered community dietitians here at Food and Friends. And Food and Friends is the only community-based organization in the DC region that provides home-delivered medically tailored meals, medically tailored groceries, and medical nutrition therapy to our neighbors living with life-changing illnesses or conditions.
You know, Matthew, could you just for us give a definition of medically tailored meals? I hear what you're saying, but what does that really mean?
Sure. So medically tailored meals are kind of what we would consider to be at the top of the pyramid of healthy eating. Mm-hmm. So, healthy eating is going to help with a variety of conditions and ideally help prevent conditions. Mm-hmm. Medical tailoring of meals is designing meals from the ground up to help with the management of the chronic conditions, such as the ones that we serve.
Okay, I get it. So it's kind of like if you go to the doctor and they say you have high blood pressure and you need to really limit your salt intake, you need to be on the DASH diet. When we talk about medically tailored, this helps you think about how I can cook meals that would serve that purpose, how I can cook meals that can help me lower my blood pressure naturally. And I think that's really helpful for some folks.
So today we're actually going to be making a really versatile, low budget, low sodium root vegetable soup. So we've got a few of the things already prepped here.
Okay.
And then you said you wanted to leap right in. So
I want to leap right in, but wait a second, Matt.
Sure.
What is a root vegetable? Just let's break that down.
So a root vegetable is going to be, any vegetable that grows in the ground. So every plant has a root. And so the root vegetable is when you're eating that portion of the plant. So, some of the famous ones include carrots, potatoes, turnips, things of that nature. Onions are also technically a root vegetable. And so we've actually got a wide range of root vegetables that are going into ours today. We've got carrots, turnips, rutabagas, potatoes, sweet potatoes. All of them can go in, and it's going to create a meal that's going to be healthy, nutritious. It's going to be high in fiber, so it's going to help with our digestive health. Mm-hmm. And you can use any of these depending on what's on sale, what's in your budget, what do you already have
or
in
what's
your
in your
pantry.
refrigerator.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. What have you already had? We're reaching the end of winter. One of the nice things about these vegetables is that they keep really well. So if you bought some turnips a few weeks back with good intentions, but you haven't used them yet, they're still usable. So you can use them in this soup.
Yes, you can. I will say I make this soup all the time. So I'm ready to jump right in. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this celery cut, okay, because we're gonna add the celery to the soup first, then we'll put some onions and some garlic in there too, and we'll put that into the pan. I'm just gonna chop up this celery really quickly, and then Matthew's gonna julienne the carrots. So we're just gonna get the carrots all cut up.
One of the nice things about, making soups with vegetables like this, when you've got, your stock, whether it's store-bought or you wanna make it yourself, you can use a lot of these scraps. So I can take this carrot peel, I can take this short bit of celery right here. We've got our stock already simmering over on the stove, so I'm gonna drop it in there and just add that extra vegetable flavor going on there. So it minimizes waste as much as possible, maximizes flavor.
And let me say, it also minimizes sodium, because when you buy the store-bought stock, unless you're getting the low sodium brand, it has a ton of salt in it. So you can just make your own stock at home. Just throw that in there, and then you can even freeze that. You can use that later on.
So we're gonna get the celery and the onion right now.
Okay.
So I'll use that and just scrape this up real quick.
Okay, cool.
So I've got some oil heating over in my Dutch oven right now. And so we're gonna give these a nice saute.
Okay.
The carrots we're actually gonna roast. So they'll be part of that root vegetable medley that's going on. We're using words like medley here today. So we're gonna get these starting to saute.
Okay.
So the purpose of both sauteing and roasting is to caramelize some of the sugars that are naturally found in these vegetables. So it adds that extra layer of flavor. So heating up the sugar, it's always going to make this taste a little, you know, when you see vegetables turn brown, that's what's going on. So
that's what's going on. See, I just thought I was making them soft so my kids will eat them.
I'm also going to add a little bit of pepper right at the start.
Okay.
So because the flavors in pepper and a lot of spices actually come out better when they've been cooked in fat. So that helps our palates taste them better. So I want to get this pepper in early on.
It's only took us like 10 minutes just now, right?
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in 10 minutes in. 10 minutes.
And I slid some vegetables in the oven a little bit earlier. So as long as you're doing that at the same time that you're cutting up and sauteing, you know, this doesn't have to take very long if you're just making sure you're putting the order of operations going on right. So I'm gonna grab myself a spatula and kind of move some of this stuff around.
There we go.
So we're just making sure everything's moving around, nothing's getting stuck in one place and burning, and so that we get multiple surfaces of the vegetables all exposed to the heat. So now that we've got some more color on these vegetables, they've started to soften up. You can see on the edges, they're getting just a little bit browned. Now we kind of want to go in with our garlic because it cooks faster. So we don't want to put it in at the beginning or it'll burn.
Exactly. Okay, now we have our root vegetables that have been roasting in the oven.
And then we're also gonna add in
some beans.
So I've got some beans here. We used to use canned beans. This is a great use for them because again, the texture is not gonna be quite the same as cooking them from dry, but because they're getting blended, what does texture matter?
Okay. Just stir that up.
And then I'm gonna pour in some of this stock real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through the strainer just to be able to take out some of the scraps that we were using.
Okay.
So pardon my reach.
Want me to hold this?
If you could. This is a pretty big pot. So really handy way of roasting squash rather than peeling it and then chopping it up, which can be especially a pain. You can just cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, brush a little oil on there, and then roast it cut side down in the oven. And then once it comes out, it's nice and tender and you can just scoop it out. So anytime that you're doing a mash or a pureed soup like this is a really convenient way of doing a winter squash. So now that this has been simmering for about 10 minutes with everything in the pot, just kind of letting the flavors get to know each other, we're gonna take it over and we're gonna blend it on up. So I'm gonna use an immersion blender just to save on dishes. But you can absolutely just use a standard blender or, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you can just eat this as it is. You can eat it as like a chunkier soup. So if you're doing this and you're noticing that it's starting to get pretty darn thick, so this is a little thicker than I kind of want it because I want it to be able to run off, you can just add, if you have some more stock, or if you just want to add in a little bit of extra water to kind of loosen things up. So I'm gonna go get a little bit of water, bring that back, and keep it going until I get the texture that I want. So, you know, before we end up trying it, we're gonna wanna taste for seasoning. So, you know, as I mentioned, this is gonna be a lower sodium recipe. So I've added a little bit of salt earlier in cooking to help it out, but it's probably not gonna be to your taste. We don't wanna over salt this, but by using lower salt ingredients throughout the cooking process, you can then set it to your needs instead of ending up over salted at the end. Because now we've got a nutrition problem and it's really hard to take salt out once it's already in there.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm
fine
gonna
with me.
Take a little taste right off the top. This is going to be very hot.
Yes, that looks very, very hot. Okay, let me try.
Yeah. tastes nice and earthy, and I get the broth coming through and get the onions coming
This is
through.
good.
But
I
could
don't think
use.
it needs too much more salt.
I don't think it
it's
does
good.
either. I think just a pinch,
Mhm.
and then to brighten it up, gonna add a little acid.
This is great.
You know, to go with the theme of versatility, you can use any root vegetables you want. You can use any kind of onion you want. You can use any kind of bean you want. You can use any kind of acid you want. So if you're making something more Italian leaning and you want to use a red wine vinegar or white wine vinegar, that's fine. You can use regular white vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar.
Mhm.
In this case, I'm just using lemon juice right on the top.
Good.
Squeeze some of that in.
Mhm.
Mix that all around. Not with the spoon that I just tasted it with. That's a food safety concern. Don't do that. Trying that one more
Try
time.
one more time. New spoon. Yeah.
New spoon. Food safety concerns. What you do in your own home is your choice.
I
But
want to put mine in here. I'm ready to like eat soup. This is
yeah,
great.
there you go.
Okay, let's try this now. Oh yeah, that tastes
A little saltier,
Yes,
a little
yes.
more
Yes,
acidic, a
yes,
little
it's
brighter.
good. This is so good. And just Matthew, just thank you so much for teaching me about this recipe and using the immersion blender.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. You know, when I make this, I don't blend it,
Mhm.
and I actually use the coconut milk, bring it to a boil, but then I add in some curry powder. My family is Caribbean Jamaican,
Okay.
so we add in the curry powder with it, make it like this really nice yellow sauce, and then add that into the boiling vegetables in the stock. Let it come to a boil, and it's so good. You can even add in other green vegetables you want as well. It's really, really good.
See, now you showed up for the cooking lesson, and now you're teaching me things. So this
Well,
worked
no,
out really well. There's
yes,
a nice
it
little
worked out
exchange
great.
of information going
It
on
did,
here.
it did. And I think the best thing about this whole meal, I mean, it probably only costs, what would you say, $20?
I know exactly how much it costs.
How much does it cost?
It cost $20.
See how
I got the receipt to prove it, and I will be submitting it to Food and Friends to give me my money back.
So $20, we made our own stock. This is gonna last. Look how big this pot is. Can you see how big this pot is? This is gonna last literally all week. And the great thing is you can freeze it, take it out on a cold day like today, and heat it up, and you've got a really hearty soup that's great. And then what I do, boil some rice in a rice cooker, pour this on top of rice. It's really, really good.
And even the even nicer thing is that $20 would be the cost for me buying it, but for our clients who are not paying for our services,
Mhm.
every ingredient in here can be delivered through our home delivered groceries. Any kind of root vegetable, lots of different beans, the lemon season, the stock that we send, the oil that we use, all of it is sent in our medically tailored groceries to our clients.
That is so good. So good. Thank you so much for having me today. Food and Friends. I'm gonna take mine.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Mm.